Like, I feel like I've been sleeping on this foundation. Like, I feel like I should have been on this when it first came out. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be trying out finally the Fenty Hydrating Foundation. This foundation came out quite some time ago, but I just decided to try it out. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my first impression, and we're going to be doing a wear test, and we're going to see if I feel like I might have a new favorite foundation. So let's jump right into it. I wasn't interested in this when it first came out. I just felt like it was something that I didn't really need. I thought it was going to be similar to my Too Faced foundation because it's hydrating and it has a natural finish. So I just felt like I already had a foundation that will pretty much do what this one is supposed to do. But I've seen a bunch of videos from other YouTubers who have oily skin like me, and they seem to be like really pleasantly surprised at how this holds up on their skin. So that's why I decided to try it out. I said, you know what, you only live once, let's just give it a shot. And Fenty had a sale going on last week, so I said, let me pick this up while it's on sale. So I'm gonna be trying the shades 340 and 380. These are the same two colors that I wear in the soft matte foundation. Now, in case you're new here, when I try out foundations for the very first time, I like to try them out on my bare skin. So I don't have anything on except for moisturizer. I don't like to use like primer or doing like powder underneath the foundation, at least the very first time that I use the foundation, because I don't want to give it any assistance to like persuade it to perform in a certain way. I just want to see how it's just going to perform on its own. So with that being said, I'm not going to be using primer today, and I go back and forth with primer. I'm not really consistent with it anyway, but sometimes I will go in and try a foundation with a primer like second or third time out, but usually the first time I do a foundation, I never use primer because I want to see how it operates on its own. So I'm going to go right in with the foundation, and I'm just going to do one pump of each because that's how I do it with the soft matte foundation. All right, I had to pump them out like quite a few times to get the product out. So I know a lot of people like trying out foundation, doing blending it out on one side with a brush, on the other side with a sponge. I typically go with a brush for like a thinner foundation, like a liquidy foundation, and a sponge with a thicker one. Now this one is kind of runny like the soft matte one. I feel like it has pretty much the same consistency, but I've always felt like with the soft matte foundation I could use a sponge or a brush and I get like the same outcome. So I feel like I'm gonna go in with my sponge for this one. So this is the SonyaNicole sponge, and like I said, I just have one pump of each color on this side of my face. So what I'm noticing right off the bat is the coverage. I feel like I'm getting more coverage than I thought I was gonna get. I mean, like, I feel like the coverage is the same as the soft matte one so far, but I guess just because this is more of like a hydrating foundation, I don't know, in my mind I just figured it wasn't going to be quite as much coverage as the soft matte one. It's supposed to be the same though, like they're both supposed to be like medium buildable, but I just felt like this wasn't going to give me quite as much coverage, but I feel like it is. And just like with the soft matte one, I feel like on this side of my face the foundation looks a little lighter than the side without, but if it's going to perform like the soft matte, this one would probably get just a little darker. It doesn't oxidize, but the soft matte one rather, it doesn't oxidize, but it gets like a little darker as you wear it. I really like this. So I don't remember if it was the very last video that I did, but I recently did a video where I tested out the McGrath concealer as a foundation on my face, and this coverage is reminding me of this. Like, this is supposed to be hydrating, so they said it's not dewy, it's not a dewy finish, but it's a hydrating finish. Like, it's supposed to make your skin look hydrated. It looks like a really nice natural finish. Like, I have a little bit of glow going on, but remember, I don't have on any type of primer or anything. It just looks like really nice and natural, and I feel like it's giving me a good amount of coverage. I like it so far. It's funny because I thought that this foundation was gonna remind me of this Too Faced one, but it seems to be more reminiscent of this McGrath concealer. just because I used it as a foundation. So as you can see, I can't really stop looking at this side of my face because I really like how this looks. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side, one pump. I like this packaging better than the first one. Like, you'll be able to squeeze out more when you start to run low. So I like the fact that it comes in like this squeezy tube. I'm not really like a foundation junkie like some people are. Like, I usually don't get all that giddy with foundation, but this one is really nice. Like, I feel like I've been sleeping on this foundation. Like, I feel like I should have been on this when it first came out. All right, so I have the foundation all blended out, and my first impression is I really like this foundation. I think it looks really nice. I'm surprised at the coverage. I do have like a glow going on in certain areas, but I don't think the glow looks bad. Like, even though I have oily skin, I actually like for my face to have a little glow to it. So I'm really liking this so far. So as I do with all of my new foundation videos, I like to show you how my everyday like go-to complexion products pair with the foundation. So I'm gonna go in with my everyday concealer. This is the Too Faced Born This Way, and I'm just gonna start off with one layer. I always layer up this concealer. So I do one layer under the eye, and I like to blend out with a brush. And then I'm gonna go on top of that with a second layer. And I'm also gonna put a little bit right on the corners of my mouth, on my chin, and on my forehead. So I'm blending it out on the chin and the forehead now. And then with the concealer on my under eye and the mouth area, I'm gonna let that sit while I do my brows. So I'm gonna do that off camera, then I'll come back and I'll finish blending it out. All right, I'm gonna go back and blend out that second layer of concealer. So I'm just blending it out right where I want the most coverage. And then I'm taking that residual concealer and then I'm dragging it down and out. Because like right here, I want brightness from my concealer, but I don't necessarily need coverage here. I'm trying to get the coverage like right up in here. I also went ahead and used some of my leftover concealer on my eyelid, and I feel like that's gonna be my primer for today because I'm not doing like anything special on the eyes because we're focusing on the face. So that's gonna be the primer instead of the one that I normally use. So right now I'm just also blending this out right on the corners of my mouth. And then I'm gonna go back with my foundation sponge, and then I'm just gonna pat everywhere, but I'm concentrating like right where, like anywhere on my face where my concealer is meeting my foundation. I'm just patting my sponge like over those areas just to make sure that the foundation and the concealer are blended in to one another and I don't have any harsh lines anywhere. And as I expected, like I wasn't anticipating having any issues, but this the Too Faced concealer and this Fenty foundation, they are working just fine together. And I'm just gonna pat over my under eye area one more time before I set it. Okay, this is what my base is looking like. The foundation and the concealer together. I'm still really liking the way my face looks right now. I really like this. Very happy right now. I'm gonna set everything with my Pretty Vulgar setting powder. Again, this is what I use all the time. I'm gonna first take the other side of the sponge to set the under eye. And then setting the rest of my face with my fluffy brush. I also run a little bit of my powder right over my brows because they get quite oily. So of course the setting powder mattified my face a little bit, but I don't know if you can see it, but I do still have like a slight glow going on my forehead. Not too much on my cheeks right now, but I do have a slight glow going on up here, and I like that. Like, I feel like this is the first time in a while that I've been like really like wowed by how much I really like a foundation. I really like the Pat McGrath foundation, but the color wasn't right for me. But this one, like, I knew the color was gonna work because I picked the same color that I use in the other foundation, but the color looks really nice, the coverage, like everything. I just really like this. I'm gonna quickly do an eye look off camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how my cheek products are working with this foundation, and then we will wrap everything up so we can start the wear test. All right, my eyes are partially done, so moving on to bronzer, blush, and highlighter. So this really isn't my everyday bronzer, but this is the one that I've been using like every single time I've done my makeup over the past week or so. This is the Morphe Glamour bronzer in the shade Trailblazer. So I'm gonna go with this today. I don't think it's necessarily better than my like everyday bronzer, which is Physicians Formula in Endless Summer. It's just that like this is a new product for me. So you know how like when you get something new, you just keep using it because you like it and your attention is diverted from what you're currently using. So I've been using this like crazy over the past week or so because I really like it, and like I said, it's just something new, you know. I did order one of the new Makeup Revolution bronzers. I'm very excited about that, but it hasn't gotten to me yet. And also running a little bit of this down my nose. And then I'm gonna take the foundation sponge to soften that bronzer back out on the nose. So I am using my go-to blush. This is Note Cosmetics Luminous Silk Blush in Desert Rose. Nice like peachy corally color. I feel like I'm going to soften the blush out just a little bit. Okay, I have quite a few go-to highlighters. This is just one of them. I feel like I frequent between maybe 3, but I figured since we're doing a Fenty foundation, I'm gonna use one of the Fenty highlighters. This is Sandcastle and Mint Mojito. So I'm gonna go in with Sandcastle for today. And I'm just gonna concentrate this like right up in that area. A little bit on my forehead, a little bit on my nose, and also on the brow bone. And I feel like, just like I did with the blush, I'm gonna soften this back out a little bit. This is like a really sparkly highlighter. I'm still very much in love with my face for today. I am very happy with this foundation so far. I'm setting everything with my Rimmel Stay Matte setting spray. All right, I finished up my eyes with eyeliner and mascara. I'm just gonna do my go-to lip. So this is the Wet n Wild lip pencil in Chestnut. And my Fenty gloss in Diamond Milk. So my sister was in here the other day playing with makeup, and she tried to take this from me, so I guess I will be a good big sister and surprise her with one of these. But anyway, this is my finished look for today, and I think you already know what my first impression is of this foundation. I love it. I really wish I had bought this when it first came out. This came out like a year ago, I feel like. Maybe not quite a year ago, but it's been out for a minute, and I feel like I have missed out all this time, but I'm really liking it so far. So we are going to be doing a wear test. So it's 10:38 in the morning. And I'm only going to try to get to maybe like 5 or 6 hours today, because that's pretty much how long I keep foundation on my face. Like when I do a full face like this, I usually don't need my foundation to last like 12 plus hours. So sometimes when I do wear tests, I'll try to do that long just to see like how long it'll last. But for me, like I usually keep makeup on for only like 6-8 hours tops. So we'll see how long I get to, but my goal is only like 5 or 6 hours. So like I said, it's 10:38 right now, and I will be back a little bit later on. Hey everybody, I'm back, and it is 4:44 in the afternoon. So it's been a little over 6 hours, and I was trying to make it just to the 6-hour mark. So this is what my face is looking like. after 6 hours of wear. I'm definitely oily where I always get oily, which is right in my T-zone. However, like, I don't know like what kind of fairy dust they use in this foundation, but I am really surprised at how this held up on my face. Like, yes, I am oily, but I feel like the only other foundation that really holds up on me for hours on end is really like maybe Estee Lauder Double Wear. So for this to only look this shiny on me, and I didn't put a mattifying primer under it, I didn't put powder under it, I feel like it looks really, really good for me to have oily skin. Like, I feel like my nose is quite shiny. I feel like my forehead is shiny, but I have had other mattifying foundations like soft matte or like fully matte foundations get much more oily on me than this. Like, I'm really shocked that this held up the way that it did. Like, I really wasn't expecting that. So now I see why everyone else is so surprised at this, or people with oily skin. So what I'm gonna do, this is something else that I always do in foundation wear test videos. I'm gonna take some blotting paper. This is just some Fenty blotting paper. And I'm just going to blot off that excess oil just so that I can see. Like I said earlier, I only need my makeup to last for like 5 or 6 hours, you know, maybe a little longer than that, but you know, 5 or 6 hours is really all I look for. But just in case I did want to put this on and have to like refresh it, I always like to see like how it looks after I blot off excess oil, and I think it looks really nice. I'm really surprised at this. Like, I just was not expecting this. So my go-to foundation that I'll just grab when I'm just like putting on makeup, like just because, is the Too Faced Born This Way. And I feel like that just got replaced with this one. Like, I really like this. I feel like this is my new like favorite foundation. Now mind you, this is only the first time that I'm wearing it, so I feel like the next like however many times I do my makeup going forward, I'm definitely going to be grabbing this one, unless I'm, you know, like testing out some other foundation or something. But I am just really surprised that it held up on me like it did. Like, I'm shocked. So as you probably already know, my final verdict is I love it. Like, even if you have oily skin, if you pass this up thinking that it wasn't going to be for you because it's a hydrating foundation, I would say still give this a try, because keep in mind, even though I don't wear primers all the time anyway, keep in mind that it held up on me the way that it did. I have oily skin and I didn't even use a mattifying primer underneath. I think that says a whole lot about this foundation. So based on how it held up on me, I think if you have dry skin, you would definitely like this. So I can't get over how it held up on me. But anyway, so I feel like those are my final thoughts on this foundation. I really do feel like I found my new favorite foundation. I really hope that y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you'll consider subscribing today. I would really appreciate it, and I hope to see y'all back for my next video. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.